Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the pilot episode of the Coach's Corner Crew. I'm Rob Allen. Most of you all know me. I proud to be an announcer at Franklin County High School. Coached around Franklin County for years and years and years. And tonight, as you can see, I'm kind of by myself. Where, like I said, we're learning the kinks here, everybody. Where I've got my producer June Allen with me, and we're learning how to do this podcast stuff. But hey, we're getting ready to get started here in the next few weeks with full go. But we wanted to get going tonight and talk about a few things that's been going on and let you know a little bit how we got started with this. I know people who know me know that this guy can barely turn on a computer. This, that, and the other. Okay, yes, I can talk in a microphone. I can run a computer here at work. I can look at YouTube and all that cool stuff. But I'm pretty technologically challenged. So putting on a podcast is something for me, and I'm not wanting to talk just for Wes and Huffy, but it's something we are all technically challenged on. So we're going to be experimenting a lot here. So we hope you got some patience with us. But just quickly, how did this Coach's Corner Crew get started? Well, we're all fans of sports. That's the easy part. And for years and years, I've always went to the high school games, my Brookville years, being involved with my kids playing, even the years after. And the same way with Mike and the same way with Wes. Mike's son played at Oldenburg. Wes's daughter was a cheerleader, and his other daughter played volleyball, softball, basketball. Hey, we've always all been involved with Franklin County. So, we've always got a tie to it. But how the Coach's Corner Crew came about was a little bit of an odd story, and I'll make it quick. There was a football game that had a weather delay, and it was a severe weather. It had tremendous storm that night, lightning, but they came across and said, hey, we will try to resume this when this all calms down. So we went, got something to eat and drink, and came back. I think it was definitely me and Mike. I don't think Wes was with us that night. It might have been Rob Cowan with us. And Rob, by the way, and Travis Singer, they had many others are parts of the Corner Crew. So you get to meet them as time goes on. But we went back to the game. And I'm not going to say who the team was or nothing like that. And there was nothing arguing like violently or nothing like that. But we're sitting rooting for the team, Franklin County. And we had a tendency to always sit on the visitor side. Just because on the home side, you got your students, you got your parents, they need the seats. And there was more seats over on the other side. So we're over there like we always are. So one night, we were sitting there, and this is after this weather delay, and we're talking. I don't even think we're talking about the game. Franklin County's taking control of the game. They're winning. So it's an easy route. We're not being loud. But one of the opposing team's fans flat out says, you folks need to be sitting somewhere else. We don't want to hear it. And we challenged the person a little bit, friendly I might add, about, man, we're just here rooting. We're not saying nothing bad about the other team. But we're just sit up here. It's a tradition for us. Well, she wanted no part of it. So he's like, fine. So we went down, and if you're at Franklin County football field, we would be, let's say we are in the northwest corner, facing the dams at our back, and we're down on like the Riverview neighborhood. So that's where we started standing. And we were making a joke. Well, we're just going to be the corner crew. And then as we got going with this, and we made a poster just out of cardboard for homecoming parade. And at that time, we started then calling it the X-Hounds Corner Crew, which was X-Greyhounds. You can see I got some Greyhound paraphernalia. My old high school. I'm glad to be a proud graduate in 1986. So we called it the X-Hounds group, and we had people sign the poster. If they went to Connersville High School, they wrote Connersville. If they were from Rushville, they wrote Rushville. We had plenty of people signing their names on it. So that's kind of how it got started. And then Rob Cowan made a nice banner, which maybe someday I can talk to him about donating it to our archive room here and our office, our corner crew office. And so we were sort of the ex-Hounds group for a while. But that kind of died out when we weren't allowed to hang the banner one year during sectional. And I'll go into that on another episode. I've always had a beef with that. Like, you have to be real impartial during sectionals, which if anybody's gone to any other sporting events in other states, there's nothing impartial when you go to a team's home field. And that makes it fun. But anyway, so then we started just kind of adopting the name Coach's Corner Crew. And it's stuck. And we've had tons of people sitting with us, having a good time. A lot of times it's more social than just watching the game. But definitely it's kind of our thing. And here through time it's kind of grown. And that's kind of how we became the Corner Crew. Now, as far as this podcast goes, we were just at the game a few weeks ago, and we'll get into the Franklin County season here in just a second. And Mike Hupp's always posting everything. He posts the first half score. You guys have seen it because a lot of you are friends with us on Facebook, and you see it all. So Huffy puts it on there, and we win the game. It's the first round sectional game against Rushville. It was a rematch. Great, exciting game. Okay? And we win. We make a great comeback. So when Huff's getting his responses to his scores, people are putting on, hey, Huff, thanks for doing this, that, and the other. So we're going to give props to a good friend of ours, Jody Doral Amrine, who says, hey, you guys should put on a podcast. And our other friend, Eddie Vonderheide, we call him Ed V, everybody knows him. And he's a member every now and then of the Corner Crew. And when he gets off work at IGA, give some props to IGA there, Ed. And he's like, don't encourage these guys. They'll run with this. So we did. I started thinking, I was like, this is something that might be fun. Might be something that people who know us may think is silly, may think it's fun, may get some good information. And then when I started inquiring about it to my oldest daughter, she said, talk to your younger daughter, June. Well, hey, June, by surprise at that time, has a podcast, and you probably hear her in her background. So I was like, well, I came to the right place. And she's with us tonight and has helped us get all this equipment and things, and sort of been our inspiration. We need to get her in the video here. There's her hand. So anyway, what we're going to do majority of times is a lot of varied things. One, obviously, we cover high school sports, not just here at Franklin County, but the surrounding area. Our Corner Crew office tonight is actually on site at the E.W. Brockman Company, and we like to thank my boss Mike Brockman and E.W. Brockman Company for providing us this area. And we got various articles from our past and probably be adding to it. But we're going to cover high school sports of the area. Eventually, hopefully learn how to do some interviews, whether they're taped ahead or if we learn how to do them here. We're going to invite some people here to hopefully join us, some of the coaches, and even if it's coaches from other areas. We know coaches from around, so we kind of hope that gets going. Other things is we might do some on-site things, which possibly could lead to us having a Coach's Corner Crew Facebook. Because in time, as we get a little more savvy with this, we might be able to incorporate a video into our regular broadcast. But if not, here in the beginning, some of our short videos, let's just say we were at Spartan Bowl. Hey, we're at Spartan Bowl, we're enjoying the game, we're rooting for Franklin County, so-and-so, hey, here's where we are tonight. Something simple like that. So we'll let you know, too, when that gets started. Other things we're going to be covering is we're all college fans. And, we don't have links to interview college coaches. We're not that uppity as we think we may be or got that many connections. But we'll cover our attitudes and who we root for, things that we think you might be a little bit interested in. And also, we'll cover professional. As you see, I got a Bengal helmet here tonight. Love the Bengals. We all love the Bengals. We also got Colt fans. We got fans of other teams. We're glad to see anybody root for whoever they want, as long as you don't hate the Bengals. You got to like the Bengals.
Or the Reds.
Or the Reds. I don't have any Reds paraphernalia. But tonight, just to get started, we're going to start off a little bit with the fall high school season. And before we do, and I don't want to make this any sadness or anything, but we're going to dedicate this pilot episode to a friend of ours, friend of everybody's, who was a 30-year member of the chain gang, helped out at Franklin County football games. He did it with his father. He's a friend to all. He loves IU. He loves the Bengals. And he passed away the other day. And he was one of the original ones that signed his class year on that X-Hounds. And that was Rusty Sprague. So tonight, dedicating this pilot segment of the podcast to Rusty. So Rusty, be looking down on us. And we're thinking of you, thinking of your family, and kind of dedicating this one to you tonight. So, on to the Franklin County fall season. I've been honored, and I do mean honored, to be allowed, especially with my crazy voice, which if anybody knows anything about the Boston Celtics, their famous announcer was Johnny Most. And folks, he's famous, he's Hall of Fame, but he talked more raspy than I do. And a lot of times people have said, well, they know it's me. But it's something I'm a little bit self-conscious on sometimes. But hey, that's just the way it is. But a year after my youngest daughter, June, graduated from Franklin County, I was done coaching at that time. Just got done coaching the high school soccer team, the ladies. Did that for 4 years. Actually, 3 years as head coach, 5 years as a coach. And it was time for me to resign from that. Had other obligations. And I had a darn good assistant just waiting in the wings, Michelle Roberts Schneider. If she could take it to the next level, which she did. And so I was proud when Todd Sackstetter, the athletic director at that time, called me. Actually, we just moved June, our producer, into Ball State for her sophomore year. And he called me and said, hey, we're building the press box over at the soccer field, and Michelle mentioned you might want to announce. And I said, sure. I've done a lot of public speaking. So I was like, Todd, I'd love to be back into it, because you're always going to miss that itch of coaching. Anybody who did it as long as I did, you just miss it. And I'll go into coaching things at other nights and stuff. But so anyway, I was very fortunate then to start doing baseball, got to sub on football, and then got to be working with the basketball. And not just announcing, but doing the scoreboards, helping in various different ways, and working with the great staff at Franklin County. When Todd resigned, we got Denny Doral in there, awesome AD. When Denny's time was through, now we got Dustin Riley. And of course, I always got to mention that man in the background, the assistant AD, who we all know, Brad Stacy. And it's my goal to get Brad on this show. If we do that sometime, we know we've done something. But Denny and them won't be no problem. But Brad could be a hard sell, but we'll try. But anyway, the fall season here at Franklin County this year. We'll start off with soccer. Ladies soccer team had a great year under first-year head coach Hannah Serber. Hannah was a great player at Franklin County and got to be an assistant, I believe, last year under Cindy Adams. And Cindy did a great job in her years coaching. And me as a former coach was like, wow, they've really gotten it together, because we had some lean years. And I felt like I was kind of a stabilizing coach, because we'd had like 4 different coaches before me, 4 in 4 years. So Mr. O'Brien helped me and guided me, and we had some other coaches, and I'll get into all that some other time. But anyway, Hannah did a great job this year. They had a fine regular season record, played well as a team, a lot of great individual performances and good team performances. So they get in a sectional, get in the second round, and are, if I don't quote me on everything, but I think they lost in the PK session. In the PK session, which is basically triple overtime. You play 2 overtime sessions and then have the PKs. So they just missed a chance to go to that championship. So Hannah, great job. On the boys' side, big time improvement. And that coach is her brother, Jake Serber, who again was a fine player at Franklin County. And Jake took on the battle of coaching the boys. And I always say battle, not for the boys they got, because they're darn good fellas and good players. But numbers has been a problem. And Jake has tackled that. The boys team this year, I think, I don't know, 16, 17 players maybe. And that's a little lean for a soccer team. But they had a fine boy move in as an exchange student, Jonathan Watman. They had some new players, Idolo Braventura, other players returning like Brian Chin, Luis Montañez. I hate to leave anybody out, Landon Brewer. They had some good senior leadership also. So Jake did a good job, and that boys team showed a lot of improvement. Hey, there's growing pains in a soccer season. We used to always say it's a cross-country match, not a track sprint. You're in for the long haul. You deal with injuries, you deal with weather, you deal with a good schedule. There's a lot of challenges to it, as there is in any sport. But Jake did a good job. I don't remember their record exactly, but they had one of the better seasons that's been had at Franklin County in quite a while. And both teams had good assistant coach staffs, so all these coaches did a good job. So, not that I follow these other sports quite as much, but the tennis team, the boys team, I know they had ups and downs, but hey, they got dedicated guys out there doing a good job representing Franklin County. Sorry guys, wish I knew your record, but I don't. And the volleyball team this year made a lot of improvement. They'd had some rough years coming into this year. I was proud to at least get to announce my first volleyball game ever. That was a lot of fun. Subbing in for Gary Bradburn, our stat man, who usually does the volleyball games. And I didn't know what I was doing at first. I hadn't been to a volleyball game since my daughter's Shelby in June last played for St. Michael's. So that'd been a while. And so I enjoyed it. And I had Dave Kaiser sitting by me. And Dave's a Whitewater grad. And you see up here we got a Whitewater emblem. He was right there to help me out. Going in then to girls golf. I want to give a little props to girls golf. They had a fine year under first-year coach Brandon Cowan. Brandon's pretty much a member of this corner crew also, one of the younger members. Brandon's been doing a great job on being an athletic department assistant. He's furthering his education. And I think Dustin Riley and Brad would say that right now he's been an extremely valuable member of the athletic department. But this year he put himself into the coaching ranks, took over the girls golf team, did a fine job, wound up having 2 girls advance to the regional, and they really performed well during the season. And it's Monday night the 4th, November 4th, so I want to give a little extra shout out to Brandon, who is coaching his inaugural game tonight. Brandon, we wish we could be there, of 6th grade boys basketball game for the Franklin County Elementary School. And he's coaching against our alma mater, St. Michael's. So Brandon, don't tear up our old team, or I hope they don't tear you guys up, but we wish you luck. And we're going to have Brandon on this several times. Lots of times. He'll be a member you get to see from time to time. So then moving into football season, we got a football right here. Hey, football a lot of times obviously gets the most notoriety. There's a lot of fans there, the band's there, the dance cats, the cheerleaders. Everybody loves football, so it gets a lot more pub a lot of times. But hey, we love football. Let's face it, everybody loves football. And this year, I wish that I could have almost done a phone interview tonight because I would have loved to have had Wes Gilman, the head coach, on. We've known Wes since his playing days, known him since he was a kid. And Wes, if you're out there watching tonight, maybe when this gets put on YouTube, we want you to know you did a fine job this year. You and all the coaches did a really good job. The team got off to a good start, had a couple glitches, and then those boys, and I don't want to just start naming a bunch of individual players because that's not fair to the whole body. Because if you're strapping on that helmet at practice, lifting those weights, running the sprints, doing the calisthenics, learning the plays, you're on that team and you're a vital part of that team. So if we don't mention anybody individually too much, we apologize for that. But we're thanking the team as in a whole. And that team then found its stride sort of after just a few glitches. And boy, did they improve and really hit a good stride. And went in the sectional in a rematch game against Rushville. Rushville was a team that could expose flaws to Franklin County. And they did in the beginning. And Franklin County was battling a lot of injuries. The team was. So we had guys fighting through that, playing other positions, playing not at 100%. We had other guys playing out of position, some of the positions they left. Guys stepping up and playing a more integral role and really rise to the occasion. And when they made that big comeback, us as corner crew guys were going crazy. The whole fans were. So I tip my hat to the boys team for that fine comeback, which led them into the second round game, also at home against Batesville. We probably played our best regular season game, in my opinion, against Batesville, because, hey, they've had a good season. They got a lot of good players. Their quarterback's going for baseball in Notre Dame. They got a lot of other good players, great athletes. Batesville is always going to give you a great effort and put out there a good team. But Batesville was ready for this game. They came in, they were physical, they were strong, took advantage in the beginning, got a lead. But again, when you talk about a team's resolve, the Wildcats dug right in there and made a good comeback. And with a first down and 50, if my stats are right, 50, that was not a typo by me, first down 50, they score a touchdown pass. And I think it was Quinn Gilman might have been Jack Seals. I think it was Jack. Wow. Get you right within a one-score game. And this was right after a successful onside kick, but there had been a few penalties. So Franklin County does another great onside kick by the kicker Wirtz, and number 11, and it was beautiful again. I mean, you didn't see two better onside kicks, but unfortunately for us, Batesville recovered and was able to close out the game. But, we were excited as fans. I'm sure all the parents out there, super proud of their boys. Franklin County High School, proud of them. And, of course, the coaching staff. So we thank you for a fun team to root for this year, and hope to see you guys involved in your other sports and continue on, the seniors and underclassmen as well. Jumping off subject before we get into our next real quick, is let's explain the Coach's Corner banner up here. I'm lucky enough also, along with Melinda Brown, one of my class of 86 classmates, to have became we're co-curators, if I use the right word, of the Franklin County Government Center Archive Room, which was started back around the bicentennial year of Brookville, 98, I believe that was. And Mr. Don Job and Ed Holmes, other people donating help all over the place. Got the archive room started, which has been located in the early world history room and the first study hall room of the old Brookville High School. And folks, that's open during any government center hours. So, and it's dedicated not to Franklin County High School, but it's dedicated to Brookville High School, Laurel High School, Whitewater High School, and Springfield High School. And some of our listeners there may not know that there at one time was 4 high schools in Franklin County. My mom, I always feel close to this because I've got affiliation with all 4 schools. Obviously, I was a graduate from Brookville High School. Great high school to attend. Just loved it there. Got family. My dad went to Laurel High School 3 years, had other family members there, and got friends that went to Laurel High School. So we got the Panther up there in the corner. Also had family members and friends attend the Whitewater High School, good old Elkhorns. Fine tradition they had. And they merged in with Brookville for the first year in 1975. And then, of course, always going to be sentimental to the good old Springfield High School, Springfield Cardinals, where my mother was a proud graduate. My uncle, her oldest brother, Bud Hyde, my mother's name was Laura Hyde Allen, class of 1940, Springfield High School. And my uncle, James A. Hyde, was, I'm not sure if he was 1950 or 51 graduate of Springfield. So we had a proud Springfield heritage. And the Springfield High School, to my knowledge, don't quote me on this, I think quit being a high school around 58, 59, merged in with Brookville. Maybe certain ones was able to go to Whitewater. I'm not sure. It was kind of geographic there. But they were the Springfield Cardinals. And proud to say that I always have a fondness for our heart for that. And that stayed open as an elementary school for quite a while. So a lot of our listeners might have went to Springfield and Whitewater as elementary schools before Mount Carmel Elementary was built. So that's kind of explaining our banner. And of course, got Franklin County in the middle. Proud representative of all these high schools. And that was formed in 89-90 when Laurel High School merged with Brookville to become Franklin County High School. And it's a great high school. So trying not to ramble too much. You know, we're trying to keep this pilot episode at about 30-35 minutes. But we're going to just briefly get into the one last thing about the high school season. We're getting now started into the winter season. And of course, we're basketball fans. And the Lady Wildcats had a scrimmage the other Saturday against Randolph Southern. The Rebels, Rob Callen territory, where he was a student at until he moved to Brookville. And heard the girls did good. And we hope to maybe get Coach Van Meter on here with us, maybe at our next segment, which will be our full go when I have our other corner crew members here. Boys basketball still got a little ways to go. They'll get started right around Thanksgiving. And so we got a few good weeks of girls action. Girls start off their season this Friday night on the road at Rising Sun to face the Shiners. And then are at home, first home game of the year, this upcoming Saturday evening, I believe against Madison Cubs. So when we get our Facebook page up and running, we'll always try to keep people updated on the schedules. And of course, you can always go on Franklin County Athletics on Facebook or the website www.franklincountyaathletics.com. So we're looking forward to basketball, both boys and girls. We're looking forward to wrestling. Want to get my old friend Doug Dieters, the outstanding coach of the Wildcats. He was a great wrestler, state finalist several years. And we want to get Doug on there because, folks, if your kids are on the wrestling team, you've got one heck of a coach. We had great coaches when we were at Brookville High School. Coach Froman, Coach Heim, and Coach Froman was the first coach in Franklin County, did a great job. Coach Doug, Todd Sackstetter, all those early great wrestlers. And then I think Mr. Wee Wee coached, and as Doug was getting into it, I might have missed a coach or two. If I did, I apologize. But Doug has been doing it for a long time, and we're going to wish his grapplers a good job or good luck, and be supporting him, and hopefully get him in here for a segment. So moving on to quickly just college season. Tonight, college sports. Tonight's a lot of beginning for the basketball season. And we love college basketball. We got my guys who are going to be with me are all college football fans. You'll sometimes, every now and then, see our helmets displayed of teams we're rooting for or who we're discussing. But don't want to spoil any conversations. But when we get Mike Huff in here, folks, he's been the dedicated IU football fan through thick and thin. So we're going to keep him getting us educated about IU football. They're having a great season. I think they just now got bumped up to number 8 or 9 in the polls. They're undefeated. Their new coach is a Spitfire guy. He's aggressive about what he says and how he coaches. Cincinnati, I think Mike's his name or something like that. But he's telling everybody he's came here to win. And with the way the new portals are and the switching around, he has understood how to work that. It has made IU a definite contender right away. And our other sports teams, we enjoy Notre Dame, of course. We got our friend Doug Kuntz, who works here at Brockman, one of the most passionate Notre Dame fans you're ever going to have. And we're going to hope to get Doug in here and talk about Notre Dame. We'll be talking about all college teams that are making news at the time. And anybody who comments on our podcast, feel free to add something you'd like to see us talk about, college or professional or high school. So really the college season is moving right along. Notre Dame, after an early loss, is moving right along. Of course, you got your big teams, Oregon and Georgia's always in the mix and everybody. But IU and Notre Dame moving up the ranks. The U, Mike Huff shows I better do this. He actually got us a helmet, which I don't have on display tonight. They're back in action, whether you're a fan or not of them. They're playing to have a heck of a season. So, and I'm not the stat guy always with college football. I root for the teams. I usually know who's doing good and who's not. But when we get Wes and Mike in there and some of our other guests, they're going to be able to give you the true nuts and bolts. But basketball season's starting. And folks, I've always been a fan of the Indiana teams and the side of Ohio that's closest to us, the Cincinnati area, like UC, Xavier, NKU, fans of them. But I love the Indiana colleges. Always going to have it in my heart as an IU fan because of Bob Knight and because of the players that I grew up watching win national championships. From when I first started watching on Fuzzy Channel 4, seeing Isaiah Thomas and Ray Tolbert and Landon Turner, all those guys win the 81 championship. That's when I really became into basketball. Went nuts over it. Before that, I got interested in Indiana State. Obviously, Larry Bird's run. I was in 6th grade when all that was happening. And they started to have games on national TV. And, of course, made it to the national final game undefeated, playing Magic Johnson and Michigan State. And, unfortunately, getting defeated. But what a rivalry that spawned. All those years in the pros, Celtics, Lakers. And I admit it, I was always a Magic Johnson fan also. Kind of a Laker fan. Enjoyed them. Loved Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and James Worthy and Pat Riley. Like Celtics, it's a conflicting interest. DJ, Dennis Johnson, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Cedric Cornbread Maxwell, and their coaches too, Casey Ford, and or Casey Jones, I'm sorry. Chris Ford. Their new coaches, Brad Stevens, went there and coached. Enjoy Brad Stevens, one of my all-time favorite college coaches. And his run at Butler that he did with Matt Howard from here in Connorsville and all those fine players. Wow, how could you not get behind those guys? It's funny how long ago that's been now. The 2010-2011 season. their 2 runs to the national championship game. And folks, I have to admit, anybody who knows me knows that I'm passionate about sports. I can get teary-eyed. I made this joke at both of my daughters' weddings, Shelby's and June's, that say, hey, yeah, I'm going to get emotional speaking at their weddings. But anybody who knows me knows I can get teary-eyed watching a Reds game. But I think the last time that I truly cried after a college game was when Butler lost that second national championship game to UConn, just because it was there for the taking. The first game they just played insane against Duke, and wow, this much away from winning a national championship. The shot being taken from half court, and granted, we saw Matt Howard play at Connorsville, and I mean it's always great to root for your local guys, but they had so many good players and well coached. We became Butler fans. But we root. I'm a big Purdue fan. Had a daughter graduate from Purdue. Big Ball State fan. Got a daughter, our producer's a Purdue graduate. June is. Shelby's a Purdue grad. And what a run Purdue made last year. And getting into the national championship game with Edie and Coach Painter and all the great players. And the thing about Purdue is a lot of times here in Indiana, you can't be both an IU and a Purdue fan. Well, I'm one of the few that are. Okay, when I was in the early years, it was not easy to root for Purdue. But the thing that turned to me was, especially when I got into coaching, besides my daughter going to Purdue and other local kids from the area who we knew, my stepson's a Purdue graduate. Brenner Boggs from there. So when I met Julie, my wife, obviously she's like, well, I do hope you root for Purdue because we're going to be watching games with adamant, and I do mean adamant, Purdue supporters, and which I love it because I love their passion. But what really turned me with Purdue was Gene Cady. And anybody who's a coach, if you can't get fired up listening to a Gene Cady interview or remembering how he coached a game, then I don't know, seriously, if you've got a heartbeat. Because he was awesome. Yeah, Bob Knight, we all try to be Bob Knight clones. And whether we weren't, let's face it, we never reached anything close to that. But yeah, we yelled, we coached hard, but nobody was a Bob Knight. But Gene Cady, passionate to the max. And what a fan we became of his. And really, even Digger Phelps up at Notre Dame. All the years he was up there. How he supported Notre Dame. And hey, we just grew up in a great coaching environment. So anyway, we support all the Indiana colleges, and I root for them all. And hopefully, maybe through the year, I'll give you a little bit of information on all of them as the year goes on. So before I just keep rambling on about college, we're going to get into just sort of maybe to end the segment on tonight, just talking a little bit of pro sports. Well, as you've heard me talk earlier, of football, I'm a Bengal fan. I do enjoy the Colts, and at different times have disliked or began rooting for other teams. And that's as all sports fans do. Football season's moving right along. Not going to start quoting statistics or doing anything like that, but just quickly about the Bengal game yesterday against what we still call the Oakland or Los Angeles Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders. Shout out to the Bengals, good win. Glad to see them. People all have different variant. I'm not going to get all technical because I've never won a football game in my life. Zach Taylor's took them to a Super Bowl. My favorite Bengal coach ever was Forrest Gregg back in Super Bowl I. Love Sam Weish. His passion. Super Bowl, second Super Bowl. Zach Taylor gets them there. And, sometimes me and some of my listeners are a little hard on him. But again, Coach Taylor, I've never won a football game. So we know you know a lot more about us. But I was glad to see the Bengals passing to the backs. Chase Brown, using him a lot more as a receiver, passing to some of the tight ends. Joe Burrow, of course, good game. Hey, they just played a better game. Trey Hendrickson, I think what he had maybe, June, you know, did he have 4 sacks? Okay, June's not as up on Bengals today as I am. Maybe she's a closet Colts fan now. I don't know. But anyway, good game for the Bengals. Big game this Thursday night against the Ravens, so we'll see what happens. Colts, I know that was a rough game. Lost there. But they're hanging in there. And anything can change during an NFL season. And especially with that one game added now, that makes a big difference in the playoff hunt. So anyway, I think we got Chiefs and Buccaneers tonight. And Chiefs are undefeated, so maybe we'll all get a chance to watch some of that. But when we get our full panel here, we'll dive into professional sports more as a group, because y'all, the listeners, don't want to just hear me ramble on about one team or what I liked about a game. You'll like our panel of guys. They'll be passionate and have likes and dislikes of their own, and that'll make it more interesting for our listeners. Anyway, folks, again, the Corner Crews here, the Coach's Corner Crew podcast is here to give you a fun aspect, and it's going to get a little zany. We got some segments we're going to do that I'm not diving into tonight. We've got a sort of a Pop-A-Shot contest we're going to do with our people who are here, and hopefully add some sponsorship through time. Want to give G2 Apparel a shout out in Brookville. They made our nice banner for us and did a wonderful job. So I thank Sam and the G2 Apparel guys. We're just here to give you a fun segment about sports and other subjects. During some of the off season, we're going to dive into some other things. And I've been, when June asked me about subjects for podcasts, I said, well, I'm not just thinking about sports at all. Through time, at different times of the year, we could bring in a lot of different subjects. But it's definitely, we're definitely going to make it something that all listeners can listen to, kids and adults alike. And then we ask for your comments. We hope you learn to start following us. Definitely on the podcast versus YouTube. And June, will this podcast be on anything else?
Spotify, probably for listening.
So we're going to be Spotify.
Pretty much any major podcasting place to listen. Audio only.
But you get to see our, I don't know if you think they're beautiful or not beautiful faces on the the YouTube, once we get our podcast up and running. And we're even going to try to view this one, get this viewed sometime later in the week. We got to get our intro and our exit things prepared. And June, of course, is our brains behind that. She's going to help us get that prepared. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. We hope you tune in to us, whether it be on the audio only podcast or the YouTube podcast. Give us your feedback. We hope you like us. If you don't like us, it's okay. Try to keep your criticism soft. We're sensitive guys. People who I've coached may not think that's true, but we hope you enjoy it, and we hope to gain some followers, and hope it's something you can have some fun with. We're going to have fun with it, and we hope you enjoy it, and give us your feedback.
Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow us, and leave comments below.
And as time goes on, we hope to do a dual segment for June's podcast, which, if I got the name right, is it on the same page?
You nailed it.
Is it both your names?
Just on the same page.
On the same page. Which, watch out, everybody. There's a lot of on the same page stuff when you dial it up on Facebook. So watch for June and her friend Shelby Jones. Is it Shelby Jones? On their podcast. I've only got to watch a little of it. So actually, I got to start subscribing and hitting like buttons on there.
He's been
From
spared.
what I've watched of it and from what our other people says, they're doing a great job. So we want to give them a shout out also. So we don't want to run you too long here on this pilot episode. Episode 1, we hope, is in a couple of weeks. We hope to have the mighty Mike Huff with us and Wes Lay with us. Going to be joining us. And through time, we're going to be adding interviews and other guests. So if you ever want to be part of it, get in touch with us. And we'll be glad to have you join us here in the Coaches Corner Crew office. So anyway, get out and vote tomorrow. Be safe in your travels. And we thank you for listening or watching in. And we hope to see you on our next podcast with the Coaches Corner Crew. And we'll see you. Thank you.
And we're out.